So the first thing we do is we figure out what we need to do in terms of declaring variables. We need two variables for sure because there are two scores that we need to accept from the user. Now, for both of these scores, we need to accept an input from user. So we need a console.write statement to ask user, please enter test1 score. And then similarly, we need to take another input saying test2 score. In the previous example that I did with you guys was we declared the variables first and then we accepted the input. You can also do it in the same line. I could declare my variable test1, and on the same line, I can accept an input. And notice I am converting at the same time because that's something that we already learned. That is required when you are accepting an input that goes into a double variable. As I told you before, copy paste is your best friend. That will help you save from having to write too many lines. So that allowed me to accept two scores from user. The rest of the logic is very similar. Now, John information needs to be displayed irrespective of test 1 or test 2. So I have two choices. Either I incorporate the name somewhere in each of the outputs, or I can just have an output before the if condition should be replaced with the name, like that. Okay, so name space test info. Test 1 score is higher than test 2 score, or test 2 score is higher than test 1 score. Either of the two outputs, for either of the two outputs, the name of the student will be displayed. Or I could incorporate the name in the output. So I have many choices here. Then we will make one slight change to the same application, and that is write a program to accept two test scores from the same student, then display the highest of the two test scores along with the student name, or display if both test scores are same. Okay. Now I have three conditions here. The first condition is one is greater than the other. For that, I have two conditions. Either test 1 is greater than the test 2 or test 2 is greater than test 1. And now I have a third condition to check to see if they're the same. When you run into something like this, we call this if else. If else if else. What does that mean? That means there is a condition with if. If that condition is not filled, then you check another condition. If that condition is not filled, then you check the third condition, which is otherwise. How many else ifs can I have in one condition making? As many as I like. There is no limit to the number of else ifs. Now think about it. If there is a limit to number of else ifs, you could only have three possible grades, A, B, and F. Right? There will be no C, no D. C and D are only possible because of else ifs. So is B. So the first condition is for A, else if B, else if C, else if D, else F. Okay, so it runs down like that. So else if test 1 is less than test 2, then test 2 is higher than test 1. Else test 2 is score is same as test 1 score. So look at, with one minor change, which was on line number 26, I introduces another condition, and then I added lines 28, 29. And now run the application. So I entered 66 for both to make sure the else runs. Otherwise, if I push different values for them, then it makes the decision accordingly.